everyone. I'm Evan Gatesman, and you are listening to the Sustainability Podcast from Nevada Conservation League, where we're working to create conservation conversations. And we are the independent political voice of Nevada's conservation community. We work to maintain and enhance the natural character of Nevada and the quality of life for Nevadans through effective advocacy, the election of pro-conservation candidates, and building collaboration. And our topic for discussion today is residential solar power. And it's my pleasure to introduce our next guests, Kenny Kay and Tony Declue, who are executive energy consultants and in residential solar, obviously. And so you guys are currently affiliated with One Solar, but you're starting your own company and it's called Freedom Solar. And what's that kind of timeline looking like?
Freedom Solar is up and running in Missouri right now. We're looking at, of course, all these jobs here. Our installer is One Solar. And so One Solar would be our install because they do a fantastic job of install. And so when me and Kenny decided to go out on our own, it was a big decision. And it's taken us now about 6 months to get the dealerships up and running. And it's looking real good. Doing great, Evan.
Fantastic.
And Evan, I would like Tony. We actually like to give our homeowners and the people who give referrals a little sharing of a rebate, and I'd like Tony to explain that because that's a great way we want everyone to participate in what we're teaching right now, and we want them to know we really want to pay it forward. Tony, go ahead and share that, what we do for people.
Okay, so homeowners, referrals, realtors, whatever your job or walk in life, okay? You know people that own homes. What we're offering is $500 rebate cash to you for your referral to a homeowner that goes solar. Now, in Nevada, we're coming underneath in 2022, that tax credit might be gone. And so the sense of urgency to tell all your friends, your neighbors, everything to go solar is approaching quick, guys. And so what happens if a homeowner decides to go solar, refer to himself, so you'll still get your $500. Don't worry, we're still giving it to you. And as a bonus, guys, now, if he refers somebody, he's getting a $500. So let's pay your systems off quick. Let's get solar all over and just have a massive movement of solar in Vegas and the surrounding area. How about all of Nevada before 2022? How would that be? Yes.
I'm telling
you. Have anything to add?
Yeah, thank you, Tony. And the reason that we like to do that is so that way everyone can understand the benefits of solar. Solar is the going green. It's the new wave right here. It's saving on coal. It's saving the environment. And we brought up One Solar a couple minutes ago. One Solar is our install company. Tony and I are part of a dealership. If you were to call One Solar to get the install, it would be much more expensive than going through the dealership. So we want to give you the lowest price, best opportunity, most knowledge, and best experience on your evaluation of your homes and your education into solar. So you're always welcome to call us through Evan. He'll be sending out a link for you, and you're always welcome to make contact.
Fantastic.
Does that make sense, Tony?
No, you covered it all. You covered it all. I'm just happy going solar.
Awesome. Let's backtrack a little bit. How did you guys meet, and what made you decide to partner up?
You want to handle that one, Kenny?
There you go. We were actually there's a leader in a company in the legal arena that introduced us through a mutual meeting. You know how sometimes you get into home-based businesses and or network markets, different businesses, and you have general meetings. Well, Tony and I went to a general meeting, and we were introduced by a leader in the company to help people in the legal arena. Tony's a 30-year retired colonel in the Army. We met right there. We had a good mutual relationship. We developed a friendship right there on the spot. And he used to build wind turbines years ago through the while he was in the military. And he had an interest in solar too. I've been involved in solar when I got solar on my house about 6.5 years ago, and I started researching it through that time up until now. And I never took my eyes off of solar. I always knew that was the right way to go to help people. All we had to do was find the right tools and the right company, and that way everyone had the best experience. And so Tony and I, we bonded up as a team right there. And we are a true team, and I'm proud of it. And it's a team that helps people have a better experience. It's not about us. It's about how we can educate ourselves and learn all the different avenues to help people have a better experience, because Las Vegas is a tight community. We want good referrals. We want everyone to be happy and understand what they're getting for their value.
Awesome. Yeah, I did have a chance to check out the One Solar website, and it looks like there's loads of testimonials on there saying how good their customer service is. A bunch of photos scrolling through and just seeing the amazing projects they've got going on. That was really cool. So yeah, check it out, onesolar.com. That kind of does lead me to my next question, real quick. What made you guys get into solar? I mean, the guy that introduced you guys, you said he was into primarily wind power, but wanted to do solar. What made you guys do solar instead?
Actually, Tony was into wind power before, and I got solar on my house about 6.5 years ago, and I started researching solar companies from that point, even getting involved with them on a canvassing level, which is a reaching out level, a sales level. And then when Tony and I met, he said, hey, he's been in wind power for many years. He loves the idea of solar. So we just grouped up as a team right there. Go ahead and follow up on that, Tony.
So what drug me into solar, and it wasn't a drag, it was like I was looking for something anyways. And so I have a master's degree in engineering, and I have that engineering mind. And I also have philanthropy is really big for me. And so I'm able to not only help the environment, but I'm able to help people. And so if you can do two things in life that you love and you enjoy, you're always winning. And you're helping so many people in the process that it's not even considered work anymore, Evan. It really isn't. It's a passion and it's a joy for us.
That's fantastic. That actually really reminds me of the LEED certified buildings when that was a big thing 5-6 years ago. No, sorry, more like 10 years ago by now, probably. When they were trying to do the LEED is LEED, leadership in energy and efficiency design, I believe. And they were doing their main tagline was people, planet, profit, because if you can make more efficient systems, the people spend less money, the environment's better off, and yeah, the people are better off and they're healthier, you know? So yeah, that's really great that you guys are multifaceted like that. And yeah, I'm actually I have a little bit of an engineering background myself, so I'm a little bit of a numbers guy. Can we talk numbers?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's going to be typical general average numbers. It's not going to be like, oh, this is what it's going to cost for my house right now. But obviously a clear obstacle in many people's minds is the upfront cost of the solar array and installation. So what does that usually run for an average house, would you say, ballpark?
I think the numbers we really need to start at first, Evan, is not numbers of how much it's going to cost. I think we need to start with how people are actually able to offset that cost. And they're offsetting that cost with 26% tax credit, okay, from the federal government. Now, most systems are about an 8 kilowatt system. And if you do the numbers right, it's about a $24,000 investment in your house, okay? Now, out of that 24,000, the government's going to give you tax credits, 26% of that in tax credits. Now you're able to use that over the next 5 years. So that's the number we really want to talk about, because that 24,000 just got cut down now, okay? And so now it's more affordable. The other thing is we need to talk numbers is how solar is actually procured into the financing. And so if we want to talk them numbers, we want to know that solar thrift loans are very expensive and dealer exclusive fees, okay? I have a product, or me and Kenny have a product called the Solar Wind Technology Loan. It's a 3% loan. And it's so instead of paying all them dealer fees and giving your tax credit to Lone Pal or Sonova or them companies like that, you're able to keep all your tax credits. You're able to get a 3% loan, whether it's equity out, solar wind technology, refinance, whatever you need to get out. And that's the smart way of talking them numbers, because we all know that on the 19th month, when you re-amortize your loan, that's when you start getting complaints in the solar business. People love solar because they know it works, but the numbers of how it's financed is a very hard number to be able to pass along to the customer at the 19th month, because all their tax credits are getting taken away. So I'm really happy with this solar wind technology loan. I'm really happy at the 3%. And when we start talking them numbers, then people can actually afford solar. They feel great about solar, and they're able to pay their system off without all these exorbitant interest rate fees. And so that's the numbers that, I think we really should talk about. Nevada, unfortunately, is not a state that the electric company gives rebates. In Missouri, now they're giving $250 a kilowatt from their electric company. And I think that's fantastic. If Nevada Energy was to do that, that would be great. What Nevada Energy does to help the customer compensate is they started off with a 95% payback to the customer for their overage, what they're dumping off to, the grid, basically. And so they did that, but now we're down to almost 7% because we have so much overproduction in Las Vegas. So the numbers are about about a quarter of that's going to be cut down into tax credits. And then if you finance solar the right way, the way it's meant to finance, so everybody's happy, it's a win-win for everybody, then them numbers make sense every day, Evan. Now, if you finance it with these high dealer fees and stuff like that, them numbers are never going to make sense. So what I want to impress upon people is think about your financing when you're going solar, because that's the most important thing. You got to live with that for 25 years possibly. And why should they have your tax credits? Because you earned them, right? So them are the numbers. I hope I covered what you wanted to hear, Evan, in the numbers part. Maybe Kenny can elaborate some more.
Yeah, I have some I'd like to share too. And what you were talking about at the 19th month that everyone knows, well, maybe a lot of people don't know if they haven't had a lot of involvement in solar. But in the 19th month, you're supposed to take that federal tax credit and put it back into the loan. So that way even though you have a lower payment when you finance solar, your solar payment is lower than what your average power bill would have been before you got solar, and solar is no money out of pocket. So it's a win no matter what, because you own all the electricity on your house and you're not owned by the electric company. Like as the electric company raises the prices after the election, like they did a couple years ago, like from 11 cents per watt to 13 cents per watt. And they could raise it after this election too, and most likely will. I would have, my opinion is that they will. And I think Tony saw the statistics that they will. And so in the 19th month, you're supposed to put that credit, that 26% credit back into the loan to maintain a steady accuracy of your power bill. Now, if not, your power bill might go jump up in the 19th month, like $20 or something. But even that $20 jump would be less than what you're paying on your electric bill right now on the average. Or you could use that tax credit in other ways through the next 5 years. Is that right, Tony? Did I explain that right?
That's correct. And I agree totally that, we're at a 4% escalation rate, projected escalation rate. And so what stops the electric company? If you don't lock your rate in right now, what stops Nevada Energy to go to a 6% escalation rate? And so that doesn't sound like much, but it's a lot. It's a lot for people budgeting. And in these uncertain times of COVID, it's very important for people to know that they have energy independence. Um, just like it would be great to have water independence and all that. But energy is, when you turn off the lights, people get scared. And so this is a way that we can help people through any loan process to go solar. Some are better than other, projects.
And and I want to top on that just one more. Thank you. When you do go solar, what Tony said, you lock your energy rate in, which means when the electric company is trying to raise the rates on, and they're raising it on all the people, all the homeowners around you that don't have solar, you are never part of those rates because you're not part of that electric bill. You own the solar on your roof, and we put enough panels on your roof that you own all your electricity. Everyone attaches to the grid because the grid goes through all the houses. So there's a small, like $14 fee or whatever it may be at that time that everyone attaches to the grid, but you have no electric bill ever again. And that's a great advantage to all the homeowners right there. You could be saving hundreds of dollars every month on the bill that you would have been paying the electric company. Instead, you're paying your solar bill. Your solar, you own those panels. We're not doing a lease. There's lease options out there that companies are trying to lease. We would never do that. We want you to own your solar so you get the federal tax credit. You get the credits back from the grid. You get all the advantages when you own your solar, including equity on your house. And so we believe in giving people the power of owning their electricity instead of being a pawn to the electric company and being utilized so we can pay. We'll never, our homeowners never pay the electric company. I'm proud of that.
That's great.
And if you went back to the last election, which was, the last election, there was a lot of information on going solar versus going with Nevada Energy when they wanted to bring other energy companies into Nevada. A lot of stuff right there. So people in Las Vegas and Nevada that were paying attention to that, they know solar is a great advantage, or it's time to learn that it is.
Yeah, one thing that makes me uncomfortable about like NV Power, for instance, Nevada Power, is that it's a monopoly, right? I mean, there's not that many other options that you can take to get out of paying
Yes.
these guys for something that you're going to need inevitably, especially in Las Vegas, where you're not going to live without AC. You're going to, yeah, obviously you need electricity. And back to one of your previous points. Okay, I forgot what I was going to say. But I did want to talk a little bit more about the numbers of the timeline, as opposed, we talked a little bit about dollars. I'd like to touch base a little bit on timeline. From what I understand, and my previous conversations with Kenny, he mentioned that it's about a payoff time of 7 years. And then after the lifetime of the array, like you mentioned before, is about 25 years. So that's what, 18 years that you're going to profit from this thing, assuming all goes right. And this is an investment, not an expense. So like you said, equity, tax credits, lower electricity bills. And as that cost of electricity rises, the value of having the solar panels already installed on your house is going to be so much higher. So yeah, I think this is pretty inevitable, especially for Las Vegans, where we have an abundance of sunlight. Obviously, they're a little less efficient when when it's really hot outside. You want it to be a little bit cooler, but it's not like we have cloud cover or precip ever. So these things got to be really useful out here, right? How does every house not already have them?
Here's the problem with that is the financing gets in the way sometimes, okay? And so solar financed the right way is a great product. If people remember to re-amortize their loan with them tax credits, you never have a complaint. There are people that heard about solar and the nightmare that their bill jumped up, $20, $40, okay? And then that turned their brother or sister, one person leads to 10, and that turned them off from solar. That's how that happens. The way that we like to do business is we like to sell solar correctly. And so there's a lot of good salesmen out there, a lot of good salesmen. but there's always a couple mediocre salesmen that don't actually inform the customers. See, part of our job is to educate. We educate everybody we come in contact with about solar because that's our business. And so when it's done correctly, you would think that everybody would have it, but 1 leads to 10 every time. And so some people are turned against it. Now, there's some that are over 70 and we cannot sell solar to unless they sign a waiver because the loan is usually a 25-year loan. That's why. Kenny, you got anything to add on that?
Yeah, there's also an option on there. Say someone over 70 years old would like it, but they know that their lifespan is not going to be that long. They could sign like a son or a daughter or a grandchild, as long as those people are working onto that contract, and that family member can receive that 26% federal tax credit. You know what I mean? So that way they can spend that within the next 5 years and utilize that. But when we share solar on a finance plan, if it's a couple, we look for the couple who has the best credit score. That way you get the best rate, and we put that person on the finance obligation only. And then on the contract for the solar, if you want to utilize that 26% federal tax credits that's available, which is smart, that can be shared with one other person added onto the contract. Does that make sense, Tony?
It does.
Tony, why would someone want to go solar if they're on the borderline? They see their neighbors across the street getting solar on their house. The other neighbor has solar on their house. They don't. Why would a homeowner be propelled to go solar or get more of an understanding of how the advantages work for them? Why?
Well, first of all, folks, the federal tax credit is ending. It's over, coming up, okay? Sense of urgency. If you do not get your solar system by December 31st, the end of the year here, and it rolls over to 2021, now you're down to 22% tax credit. In 2022, they're talking about eliminating the tax credit, okay? Folks, when they eliminate this tax credit, they take all the incentives off the table. Nevada Energy raises back up to 18, 20 cents. That's about $50, on your bill. There's going to be a lot of people saying, I should have gone solar. And so if you're right on the line, you really need to investigate it. We got great ways of financing it. We're not going to steer you wrong, and we're not going to oversize your system like some of the other solar companies did in the past, pre-2017, and got kicked out of the state. We are actually regulated now. Everybody's selling good solar, or most people are. And, if you're right on that line and you think you can't afford it, well, I tell you what, you cannot help yourself enough to get solar right now, because solar systems are going to skyrocket after 2022. It's not going to be the prices that we're looking at now at 8 kilowatt at 24,000. It's going to be at 8 kilowatt at 50, 60,000 maybe. And that's what people need to understand. There is a sense of urgency, folks. And if you're on the brink, we got the financing, and we can go solar with you.
Yeah, and you know what? We can't afford not to go solar because it's such a significant savings, and you're not connected to the electric company anymore. And so, yes, Tony, that was perfect on explaining that.
Great. I'm really glad you guys covered that. And I was going to make sure that it is what I understood it was, 26% now, 22% next year, and potentially disappearing after that. So yeah,
Correct.
Thank you for covering that again.
And Evan, they're locking into the price of the electric company versus, they're locking into that price that wattage we're at for their solar panels. So, they're not part of that hike in that raise in energy.
Perfect. Yeah, actually, that does kind of lead me to my next topic. When I was in college, I was studying solar energy and renewable resources and stuff like that. And we had a class where we were presented with a spreadsheet where we can plug in size of house, or basically it was energy needs for your house, and the cost of energy and all these variables. And we can see how much it would benefit us if the power rises to double or rises 1.5 or something like that. Is there a resource that our viewers can use, like a solar calculator, that they can figure out what this is going to look like for them?
Yes, Evan, great question. Energy Sage, it's not only a resource, it's actually an activist. I mean, they actually are, fighting for solar. They're fighting for renewables. And EnergySage.com, you will have a calculator on there, and you'll be able to, plug in your numbers, and they'll get the result right there.
Fantastic. You said that was EnergySage.com. Is that correct?
Yes, Evan.
Perfect. Thanks so much for that. I've got to check that out after this and see what it would look like for my parents to go solar. So yeah, you covered the rebate already, but for anyone who might have missed it, these gentlemen are offering $500 off a new solar array for new customers, and $500 in the pockets of whoever referred you. And that's just incredible. I mean, wow. Plus, you're already, there's multiple benefits other than that. The tax rebate, on top of the locked-in solar energy cost, and the equity of the home. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of reasons to go solar right now, like you said. And I think there is a little bit of there's urgency, because this stuff is going away and it won't always be so cheap. So anyone that wants to get involved and get solar for one of their friends or family, just get a hold of me at egatesmanlcv@gmail.com, or call me at 702-759-2484 and mention that you saw the Solar Sustainability Podcast, ask for the special offer, and I'll refer you to these gentlemen, and they'll make sure you get taken care of.
Yes, we will.
Kenny,
absolutely.
Great. Well, do you guys have any final thoughts?
I'll touch on a thought. When you're interested in solar, or if you're interested in getting a proposal on your house, Tony and I aren't going to send you to a salesman. We're going to, I've lived here in Las Vegas my whole life for 51 years. We're going to come to your house personally, or we can do it over Zoom, or any way that you feel comfortable. And so we're going to personally be your specialist that way. And all your questions that you need answered, we're going to personally, Tony and I, assist you. And if there's anybody out there that wants to be part of the solar team, we are open to build the team with people who are excited about solar. You feel free to get a hold of Evan, come on and join our team. Right? What do you think, Tony?
That's great, Kenny. It's great final thoughts, actually. I have one thing we didn't touch on. My final thought is, folks, if you're going to think about solar, let's talk about energy efficiency first, just for a couple minutes. Energy efficiency, like the light bulbs, okay, little simple stuff that everybody can do. The threshold of your door, your outside doors, are they good? Little things. Do you have dual pane windows? I mean, that might be a problem. Let's talk about solar screens, And so to really be efficient in our use of energy and leave the smallest carbon footprint that we actually want, because that's what we're in the business of, right, Evan?
Yes, absolutely.
So let's look what we can do for ourselves, okay, that are easy, simple things, and let's leave the smallest carbon footprint that we can leave. And that's kind of my final thoughts there, Evan.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being on our show, guys. And this is the Sustainability Podcast from Nevada Conservation League. Please get a chance to check us out, Nevada Conservation League, on our Facebook page for some fun content that we're putting out. And thanks for hanging out.